I'm with Joe Oltmann from Denver, Colorado, who broke a huge story last week about Eric Coomer, who works for Dominion, which is based in Denver. And Joe was on a Antifa line where they were speaking with Eric Coomer. And when was that, Joe?
It was end of September, so I think it was around the 27th of September.
So very recently. And had you been listening in for a while, or was this just a one-off thing?
Well, no, we were trying to infiltrate Antifa because obviously we've had massive problems in Denver. And we started FEC United, and they kept writing bad stuff about John Tig Tigan, who's the guy from he was just an American hero, and just writing stuff that wasn't true. And so, frankly, I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So we started infiltrating Antifa down in Colorado Springs and up in Denver, and getting access to different conference calls and doing a bunch of research. And so I really wasn't looking for Eric Coomer. Matter of fact, I didn't even know what I had until after the election.
That's just amazing. And then you found out that this Dominion was based in Denver, and that you believe you were on a call with one of their top officials from the company.
Yeah. So again, I didn't really know what I was up against. And at the time, it was I'm listening. Eric is talking. Somebody asks who Eric is, and then somebody answers Eric is the Dominion guy. So I'm just keeping notes. And then somebody says, "Go ahead, Eric," and then someone interrupts almost immediately again and says, "What are we going to do if Trump wins?" Right? Says some explicitives, and Eric responds that, "Don't worry about the election. Trump is not going to win. I made effing sure of that." And people are like, "Effing right." There's a way that they talk that is just unbelievable, right?
I guess I don't know. It's just they're just crazy, huh?
They're nuts. I mean, it's actually just it feels like Chicken Little, right? And I said that to Michelle. It's the only way I can describe it. Where this guy is following that everyone is. The rhetoric is just really the temperament for the rhetoric is very high. So after that, when he said it, I laughed because I was in my mind. All I kept thinking, and I literally left there, went to go talk to Tig, and I was like, "Hey, listen, these guys think that they're Jedi warriors, that they can just say something and then Trump's going to lose."
Right.
And so I did a little research on Eric because I thought I should, and I literally just put into Google search to start with Eric Dominion, Denver, Colorado. That's it. That's all I had to go on. Right. And it popped up Dominion voting systems, and then I did research on Eric Coomer Dominion voting systems, and I did research on Eric Coomer, and I saw that he has a PhD in nuclear physics, so really smart guy, and I'm like, he can't be Antifa.
Right.
He works for FBI, works for CIA, does something like that. And wouldn't that be something if he actually did that, by the way? But anyway, I'm not going to say that that's true, and I'm not a conspiracy guy. But so then I laid it aside, got the information I wanted from the journalist. I found out a bunch of stuff and was able to gather information. So the Eric stuff became obsolete for me. It just wasn't something I was looking at. And then and one of the things that people have asked me is, Joe, come on, how do we know that you were actually looking for Antifa journalists? Well, I was like, serendipitously, I was at a FEC United meeting on October 15th at Vandermeer, and at that, Tammy Vandermeer got a recording from Eric Trump that said, "Hey, Tammy Vandermeer, you're awesome," and then mentioned FEC United. I played that video at that night, and I actually brought up the fact that I had demasked 13 Antifa journalists in Colorado, and that we were going to come for them if they kept writing bad stuff about us, and that we were going to dox them.
Right.
So on the 16th, the Antifa journalists one of them wrote a story saying that I was threatening journalists. So it was kind of this uproar in Colorado, and I laughed because it was the Antifa journalists that were writing something about us. And I had just told them that I was going to dox them. So I did. And fast forward to the election, we know that there was a bunch of funny business happening.
Oh yeah. And by the way, for the Antifa Journalists in Denver, for people who aren't familiar, there's a lot of speculation that a couple of those people during that shooting in Denver just weeks ago of a Trump supporter, that there were some journalists who were working with Antifa at that rally. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Matt Doloff is definitely Antifa. He's absolutely 100% radicalized. He's a part of the Our Revolution. Our Revolution was the Chris Jacks guy character out of Weld County that literally said that he wanted to, Project Veritas did that deal where he wants to kill Americans in the street, right? Do it our way or we'll cut your head off with a guillotine. Mm-hmm. He actually said that in the video. Amazing. And talked about the fact that they had infiltrated different positions in the Democrat Party, and frankly, some of the really terrible people in our state that are in leadership, including Governor Polis, are a part of the Our Revolution movement. Right? Not a communist movement. Yeah, not a big surprise. We've heard some stories coming from Denver like that, and so I think that's important for people to know that this is a very radical group. And so the fact that you're tracking them and you're an expert on their group and you've outed some of them, and the fact that you heard this top level official from Dominion on the call, that's really stunning, and you put it all together. Well, I didn't really put it all together then, right? I didn't know what I had. But on Friday I was out elk hunting with my friends, and we were up in down in Kachara. And I was sitting on the couch, and I got a text message and a couple messages saying, "Hey, look, I want you to read this article." And it was an article, and I typically don't read the articles because I get so many text messages, like 200-300 a day. Wow. But I read it, and Eric Coomer was in there giving him a statement as to why the computers went down for multiple counties in Georgia during the middle of the day so they could do a software update. And I was like, wait, what? And I saw Eric Coomer, and I go, oh my gosh. And I was just sitting there on the couch, and, Gordon's talking to me, he's my friend's talking to me. And I'm like, listen, just leave me alone for a minute. I gotta dig into this. So I started digging into it, and looking for Twitter handles and Reddit posts and anything Eric Coomer could have been associated with. And then I started to say, look, I got to get access to his Facebook page. Right. That's got to be the next thing I do. So I went in and got access to his Facebook page. And it was public, correct? No. It wasn't public? No. Wow. But I didn't break any laws to get it. Sure. Okay. All right. It was tighter than an ant's butt. Wow. But I'm a data guy, so it wasn't difficult for me to. Amazing. So I'm sure it's taken down since then, right? Oh yeah, it's locked down. He's deleted. So then I gathered all this information. I literally sent text messages to multiple friends saying, I think I'm in trouble. I've got information that is just, it's unbelievable. Right. Because once I got into his Facebook account, he had posted the Antifa Manifesto, right? A day after it had been posted by massive or major Antifa organizations. Right? So it's not like he, waited and somewhere along the line somebody gave it to him. It was literally that day. Amazing. And then you go through and see the dead president that he has of YouTube videos, and he's got stuff for just a bunch of other stuff, and then he's got this rant that is just unbelievable. And inside of his Facebook posts were the most vile anti-Trump, anti-American rhetoric that you could find. 80 posts of it. That's amazing. And so I just that's just amazing. Yeah. So I just started my journey down the path of then researching him, like researching every one of the. I wanted to research everything that was out there, like any data, anything that he touched, and everywhere I turned, guess what I ran into? What's that? I ran into him having his fingers in it. Like he was the one in Arizona that was actually pitching the the project to the election committee in Arizona in 2019, October 29th.
Wow.
He was in Georgia as the expert witness in a lawsuit. He was in Georgia selling the product. He was in Georgia for the spokesperson. He was in Pennsylvania selling the product. He was in Pennsylvania meeting with county clerks. He was in Michigan installing the system. Like, this is a guy that's not supposed to be involved in every minute detail of the organization. He is the director of strategy and security.
And there he is.
Everywhere you turn, he's everywhere.
I did see that. I did see that video from Illinois, but that was 4 years ago or something. I think where he's that it might still be up on YouTube, but that was. There's not a lot out there. You found much more than anybody else. It sounds like.
Well, and then I have the access to his. Once you get into his Facebook page and you can see that, the rest just becomes.
That's amazing.
It's scary stuff.
So
scary stuff.
That sounds real scary, and I'm glad you have protection. So once you came out with this stuff, then what happened? I mean, obviously, a lot of people have been looking at Dominion since the election, and some very strange numbers coming out. We've reported that at Gateway Pundit, and you broke this story, and I'm sure all hell broke loose, right?
Yeah, it did. It broke loose for me, so I couldn't get anybody to pay attention because there's so much going on.
Right.
And so I actually sent you guys something too. I sent it to Rogan. I sent it to everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I've been bombarded. I usually I go through I shouldn't probably even say this in public, but I go through the email myself, and but I've just been bombarded, so it's just been too much information. I know you know how that is. Anyway,
I do, and so I just took a very patient approach. I mean, I'm not I think the scary part for me is I had to get out, and so I have Conservative Daily podcast. I started Conservative Daily 11 years ago. We're one of the largest advocacy group for conservatives in the nation. We have like 800,000 members, and but I started this podcast back in March, and I've operated under the moniker of Joe Otto as a kind of a media name, and because I'm a business guy, right? So,
right.
And then, unfortunately, through all this, I had to just come out and tell everyone, look, Joe Otto is Joe Oltmann, and I need to share this story with you. And so on Monday of last week, I did a 2-hour special and laid it all out for everyone who Eric Coomer was. And then I put it out on Twitter, and then everyone started picking it up. And then Michelle Malkin picked it up. And then as soon as she did, my Twitter followers went to like 250,000, and then Twitter stepped in and shut down my
Shut it down. I remember that. I was watching it one night. I was one of the people. I was like, holy cow, look at this. And then the next day, I went back. It was gone. So, that's it's criminal that they're doing that, by the way. You have information that's truthful that should be released and is very much, there's nothing wrong with it, and they're going to just shut you down because you're exposing absolute fraud. So
and frankly, Twitter then has whitewashed all of Twitter and taken down anything that's Eric Coomer. Right?
And so you've noticed they've scrubbed it from the internet. A lot of
so literally that's what caused it. Is that I put it up there because I have these things that check whether or not data stays up, right? We have archives, and all of a sudden Eric Coomer was coming down everywhere. They were pulling it down everywhere.
Amazing. Who do you think was doing that?
I think that big tech has played a part in weaponizing this election. I think that we're talking about a coup.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the media is involved in different roles, and maybe they don't know what everyone else is doing, but they're certainly all in on it, it appears.
Well, I know that Twitter is in on it. I know Facebook's in on it.
Oh, yeah. And you think you have? Well, I mean, I say yes just because of the fact that they've suspended me twice since the election for 12 hours. For putting up things that are completely accurate, but they suspended me anyway. So,
they suspended me for attacking Antifa the first time.
Amazing.
Like I attacked Antifa, and because they were attacking TIG, and I didn't attack them, I just called them out.
Right.
And they said that I was using hate speech because I told them that they were a bunch of clowns. I actually called them a bunch of clowns.
Wow, and that was enough. That's insane. Tell me, Joe, about since this story broke and you've made a few interviews that have gone viral. What repercussions have you faced?
You mean like
any threats or anything? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've had lots of threats. I mean, the threats when they originally went out with Michelle Malkin came in pretty consistently, and so I probably had hundreds of them where I've now I just monitor like Reddit, and I monitor places where there might be issues that I know in advance that there are going to be issues, and but yeah, I mean, I have security for my family. I have.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not been, doing this is not on my list of Christmas card things to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you think from our previous discussion, you think this Coomer is just nuts, huh? Just
look, I don't know of anybody with sensibilities that would talk the way he talks, acts the way he acts, yet maintain his composure when he's, I mean, you've seen some of the videos where he's talking very intelligent.
Sure. Comes off very professional. Yeah.
When he gets behind closed doors, he's a lunatic, right?
Wow. Scary.
He becomes unhinged. He says things and does things and posts things that are anti-American sentiment, right?
Yeah.
That's what Antifa is. They're against the United States. They're against what we stand for as a country.
Oh, absolutely.
So I did send everything to my psychologist friend and said, tell me what you see. And he goes, this is classic sociopathic behavior.
Wow.
And so you're dealing with a guy that's a sociopath. And I go, all right, so what would you say if, to this type of individual? I was like, and I said, what if I told you that this person has a PhD in nuclear physics and is responsible for nearly 70 million votes across the United States with a election system? And he goes, "You're kidding, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm not kidding." But I'm like a dog with a bone. So I've been digging.
Right.
Jim, I've been digging into this for quite some time. And so I finally called one of his friends that happened to post on one of the posts that he had on his Facebook page.
Right.
And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, who is this?" And I was like, "My name's Joe Oltmann." And he goes, "I can't." And I was like, "You hang up this phone and you'll be the next person that I put on Twitter."
Wow.
And so I was kind of a jerk that I wanted to know the truth. And I was like, "Look, you have to give me something. What kind of guy are we dealing with here?" Right?
Right.
And he goes, "Look, I have a family. I don't want to get involved in this stuff.
Wow.
I'm a professional." And I was like, "Yeah, you were one of the guys that said something very derogatory and agreed with him." I said, "Do you want me to read it to you?" He goes, "No."
Wow.
I go, "Okay, well, give me something." And he goes, "All right, Eric has always been insane. He's insane. Everyone knows he's insane. They think he's insane, but they just accept him because he's just insane." And I was like, "So you think the guy's insane?" He goes, 100%, he's insane.
That's scary.
So this is one of his friends saying he's insane.
Yeah, one of his close friends. That's real scary, So wow. I tell you what, Joe, I'm going to cut this off. Is there any final thoughts that you'd want to give Gateway Pundit audience on this? And we can certainly talk in the future, but anything closing in this conversation?
Look, I want to make this very clear. I am a Trump supporter, but I'm more of a supporter of the Constitution and this country. And so I don't think that had Biden won, and he won legitimately, then we would have accepted the election results and we would have moved on. Right. But you can't ignore math. You can't ignore science. You can't ignore the guy that has his finger on the election that is absolutely insane. That is writing things about the president dying and the U.S., effing the U.S., and expect that's a nonpartisan individual that is not going to put his finger on the voice of the American people. Right. And that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about, did they cheat by a few thousand votes? They stole an election, right? They absolutely stole an election. The Benford law shows that the irregularities just for Biden across all of the states that Dominion is in are off the charts.
Yeah.
I mean, it would cause you to go to prison for a long time if the IRS ran this equation and it came up with this many irregularities.
Mm-hmm.
You run a REMA analysis, you run all the different mathematical analysis, and you come to the same conclusion, and that is it was a massive cheat on the American people.
Absolutely.
And if it's not, why are they trying to kill me? And why are they, or threatening to kill me? And why are they doing and saying that they're doing? And why is the media and the big tech companies going along with it? And why did they take so long to call those states that President Trump was up 400,000 or 500,000 votes?
And why did they take off several hours during the night in just these states?
And then tell people that they were actually going to stop counting when they were going to continue counting. Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
You can draw a conclusion one way or another, but if you put all the pieces together, that's your smoking gun. It's like going through security with all the pieces of the gun, and then putting it together when you get to the other side. That's what they've done. They have literally stolen this election. And frankly, if I didn't stand up and other people didn't stand up, and we didn't put this stuff together, we allowed it to happen, then we would no longer be a republic. We would be a communist society where opportunity is given to you if they decide it's given to you. And it's an illusion of freedom. It's not freedom. So.
Absolutely. Wow. Well said, Joe. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your courage. What you did was just remarkable. So please stay in touch. I'll post this up on Gateway Pundit tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Bye.